My name is Max. I'm 16 now, and I was around 9 when my father first told me this story. We live in Wisconsin, and during the summer it gets really hot, so we would often have bonfires and grill. My father sat me down, the fire blazing before us, giving my father's face an eerie glow. He told me that tonight was the perfect night for an old story, known well by the people from our home country. Years ago, there was a couple traveling by car at night. The sky had grown foggy and cool. The couple, who I will name Carla and Dion, had been driving all day to get to Dion's mother's house, and there were still many hours of driving ahead, and with the fog setting in, the need to sleep was weighing in on Dion. He told Carla to look out for a town to spend the night in. Keeping their eyes peeled, Carla spotted a small dim light glowing off in the distance. As they approached, the light grew brighter. It was an oil streetlight leading into a small town. Carla and Dion drove around for a bit before pulling over by a large, old-looking wooden building. Maria's Inn was written on the old sign outside the door. "This looks like a good place to spend the night," Dion stated. Carla didn't respond. A cold feeling had crawled up her spine the minute they passed the streetlight. But before she could argue, Dion had left the car and entered the inn. Hesitantly, Carla followed Dion inside. The smell of fire filled her nose, but nothing was burning. Carla found Dion speaking to an old woman. She was sitting on an old wooden rocking chair. Carla walked up to her husband. "Honey, who is this?" Dion looked at Carla and smiled. "This is Maria. She owns the inn and offered us a room." Dion looked back at Maria. "Thanks again, ma'am." Carla looked at the old woman. She looked like she had been beautiful in her youth, but age hadn't treated her well. Wrinkles and spots had riddled her face now, and her veins protruded from her shaking hands. Curly white hair fell from a scarf that had been elegantly wrapped around Maria's head. Carla and Dion settled into their room. Despite how old and unused everything looked, the room was nice. One bed, a small table, a bathroom, and a window looking out over the river behind the building. Carla and Dion had just sat down when a knock startled the both of them. They looked at each other. Dion stood up and answered the door. "Oh, hi Maria," Dion said, relief filling his voice. Carla listened to their conversation and heard Maria mention a night service at a local church that she would be attending and how she would be pleased if Carla and Dion would join. Dion looked at Carla, and with some hesitation, Carla nodded, signifying that she would join. On the way to the church, Carla was never able to shake the eerie feeling that she had following her since the streetlight. When the church came into view, Carla was stunned. It was huge, a large steeple over the entrance, a massive bell beneath a stained glass cross, huge wooden doors leading into a dome-shaped room with a stage, and on the stage, a single, beautiful woman sang with an angelic voice. The church was filled with people, everyone in town according to Maria. The bad feeling Carla had grew worse. Maria, Dion, and Carla stood near the front of the stage where the woman's singing continued to grow louder, and Carla noticed that the woman was glowing, and with every lyric she grew brighter, almost blinding. Carla looked away. Noticing Dion, Carla took him by his hand. He was still looking up at the woman, mesmerized, and this made Carla angry. After several moments, she forced Dion to look at her. "I'm feeling ill. Can we go back to the inn?" Carla said, nearly crying. Dion nodded and said goodbye to Maria, who begged them to stay. The woman's singing grew so loud and her body became so bright that Carla felt like she may explode. When they got back to the inn, Carla lay down immediately, falling asleep. When she woke, she knew immediately that something was off. It was far too bright. Carla opened her eyes. Dion was asleep next to her. She looked around and felt her heart drop to her stomach. Unable to speak, she shook Dion awake. Dion looked at Carla, then at the scene that she was so shocked at. What they thought was the inn in which they slept was a pile of wood and rocks. They looked further out and found that there was no town, no river, no church. Only large piles of rubble where the buildings used to be. Their car was parked beside a large sign that was half buried in the ground. The wording was faded. Panicking, Carla and Dion ran to the edge of the town where the streetlight had been. Surprisingly, the streetlight stood tall, seemingly out of place in this ghost town. Suddenly, on the road beyond the streetlight, an older man on a cart being pulled by a donkey could be seen. Carla and Dion yelled to him. "What can I do for ya?" he asked. Carla explained the story hysterically, from the time they were driving, from when they woke up on the ground. The man listened, his face growing more and more grim. Carla looked him in the eyes. "Where is the town?" she asked breathlessly. The older man sighed. "I'm not sure how to answer that, dear. There used to be a town here, but it's been gone for almost 50 years. A bomb hit the church directly on the night of a service, killing everyone instantly. The only thing left was this very streetlight." Carla and Dion ran, leaving the man by the streetlight. Laughter could be heard from all around them as they got into their car. Carla and Dion headed straight for Dion's mother's house. Of course, she didn't believe them. No one did. They both went mad, knowing what they went through. They even tried to find the town a couple of times, but never did. Eventually, Carla and Dion went missing, and are still missing to this day. I'm not close with my father anymore, but I still tell his stories, and this has always been my favorite. Stay safe and stay away from the lights.